Hello everybody, my name is Karan and today I'm going to share my Accenture interview experience. I gave this interview on 29th July 2023 for the role of ASE, which is Associate Software Engineer. So today I'm going to share my experience, like what were the questions that were asked from me, and I hope this interview experience will help you in your interview as well. So let's get started. So the very first question that the interview asked me was my introduction. Of course, in every interview, the very first question that is asked is the about yourself. So the interviewer gave a brief introduction about him, and then he asked about me. So I give my brief introduction, like everything from my education, academics to my projects and etc. You can find the relevant sample answers on internet as well. So after asking about my introduction, yeah, then he asked me about my projects, which I have already mentioned in my introduction. So here, one thing I would like to highlight is you should always mention your strong points in your intro. Then the chances are high that the interviewer will ask you the question relating to that. So I described about my project, which was related to software field. Of course, this was the role which I was applying for. So you should always talk about your strong points in the introduction, and it is most likely that the interviewer will be asking questions from there on and relating to that. So I highlighted my project in my introduction. So he asked me about that project, and I answered that as well. Okay. So now moving on, he asked me from my resume. First, I think he already had my resume on his screen. So he went through that and he asked me about some question related to my academics. Like, for example, I'm from EC branch. So he asked me about why do I want to shift in the IT industry apart from my core branch. So I told him that and I gave him answer and he was quite satisfied as well. Okay, so the next question was from my academics projects. So he wanted to know about my academics more. So he asked me what I did in academics and what were the projects that I completed in my graduation. So he asked me about my projects and told me that I should describe it in everything related to that project. For example, how did I got the idea, what I did to implement, how did I manage to get it done through my team, and etc. etc. So the sectional question was related to my academic project. So I answered that as well. So moving on in context to my projects, he asked me about my team members and if I have done my projects in team or alone. So I told him that I have done my project in team. So he was now moving on to the behavioral questions. So I'll tell him in the next slide. Then he asked me about how did I divide my project work in my teams. So I described him that as well. Like how did I got the idea and how did we manage to get it team meeting so that we can divide each work to the each individual. So I told him that. Okay, the next question was like he gave me a situation. For example, if you are in a company and you are the team lead and one of the members had a conflict with you, so how did you manage to get the work done? And he gave me a situation. So he just wanted to know if I can handle that situation, and he asked me about the approach and the process behind that. I gave him the answer like I will get to know the perspective of my team member, and then I'll gather a meeting to solve the conflict from my side. And if I'm not able to get the solution through that, then I'll approach to the higher authority. So this is like how I answered this question, and he was quite satisfied as well. Now moving on, he asked me about my certifications, which I had already mentioned in my resume. So he was continuously looking at my resume. So I'm damn sure that he has already access to your resume. So should always mention the subjects which you are confident enough to tackle in the interview. So he was looking at my resume and he asked me about my certifications, like from where did I learn and what was it and what I learned in that certification as well. So the interview was over and the interviewer asked me if I had any questions. So out of curiosity, I asked him two questions, which I was already prepared for. And then the interview was over. So friends, overall the interview was quite easy, I will say, and it went good from my side. But the results are yet to come, so we can't say anything. But I would suggest to prepare well enough before appearing for the interview. And therefore, I have also mentioned some tips from my side for the upcoming candidates who are about to give the Accenture interview. Here are some tips from my side. So first of all, you should always mention the subjects in which you are confident in your resume, because most of the time the interviewer is going to ask a question about your subjects in your resume and whatever you have mentioned in that. So prepare well enough for that. Apart from that, you should also prepare some general HR questions like introduce yourself and where do you see yourself in the upcoming 5 years down the line, and why did you want to join this company, and questions like that. You should always prepare for some general HR questions as well. Although there were no general HR questions in my interview, but I will suggest to you that you should prepare for that. So the next very important tip that I would like to give you all is that you should ask a question to the interviewer if they are asking that if you have any doubt in the last of the interview. It will always leave a good impression that you are curious about your responsibilities and your job and your position in the company. So it will leave a good impression irrespective of how did you perform in the interview. And lastly, good luck from my side, and I'm hoping that your interview will be also great. And I would suggest you to prepare well enough about your resume, your basic HR questions, and the overall interview will be easy. So don't worry about that, and good luck from my side. So that's all from my side in this video, and I hope this video was valuable to you. And if you found this video valuable, you can subscribe to my channel. And I hope that you found this video valuable. And if you did, then you can subscribe to my channel. Till then, I'll see you in the next one.